There is an ancient Gambian proverb that says that giant silk cotton trees grow out of very tiny seeds. But there is a poison tainting the tree that is my country these days, and if we are not careful, we will not grow too old at all. The Gambia is the smallest country in Africa, but we can have the stability and culture of a much larger country if we solve our problems. The biggest problem facing the Gambia today is lack of development, both economic and infrastructural, which has led to general decline and a lack of opportunities. My name is Momodou Cisse. I'm 11 years old and I live in the Gambia. I live with my family in a large village called Bara at the mouth of the Gambia River, which is the heart of our beautiful country. We sometimes cross the river on a ferry to Banjul, the capital of the Gambia. We don't cross often though, as the ferry is expensive and slow and we've been pickpocketed while riding it. The ferry authority says that they will improve the terminals, but I think it's an empty promise. My dad has his own fishing boat, and he fishes every day in the river. He's been catching less fish recently, which is scary, because we eat some of the fish he catches, while the rest he sells for money. I live with my sister and father in a small house in Bara. My mother died when she gave birth to me, because our hospital was washed out in a flood. I wish our hospitals were like the ones I see on TV, so my mom could be alive today. I go to school with my sister in Bara, but I feel like we aren't learning much of anything, and the literacy rate of the Gambia is only 50%, which makes me thankful that I know how to read. I enjoy playing football in the empty lot a block away from my house, and I'm hoping to become a football player and play for a European team. My father says I shouldn't play for a European team because of all the awful things they've done to us. My uncle Adama lives in the UK, though, and while he misses the Gambia, he says he had to go to Europe for new opportunities and a better job. When he visited us recently, I talked to him about how the Gambia used to be controlled by the British, and he told me that long ago in the 19th century, the British came into our country and claimed it as theirs. They drew the borders of our tiny country and lumped us together with people we didn't know on the other side of the Gambia River, while separating us from our community of Wolof people in Senegal. Almost 3 million slaves were taken from our nation by the Europeans, which is more people than the entire population of the Gambia now. When the Gambia finally gained independence from Great Britain in 1965, we were happy to be free, but our government has been corrupt since then, and a brutal leader named HI7 controlled the country from 1994 until 2016. While we have a much better president now who has given women more rights, corruption is still all around in almost every aspect of our government. While our country may be struggling politically, it is still very beautiful. We live very close to the ocean, and often my family goes to the beach to relax and see the sunset. If you walk north up the beach for a while, you get to Niumi National Park, which is a very beautiful wetland area. If I don't become a footballer, I want to be a park ranger when I grow up, because the nature in the Gambia is really special, and I want to preserve it. Another thing I've been doing recently is learning how to play the kora with a few people from my neighborhood. The kora is a stringed instrument, like a banjo, that reaches many notes. My dad helped me make my own with fishing line as the strings. Fishing is really important to our life, and most meals we eat have fish in them. One classic dish is jollof rice, which is rice cooked for a long time with chicken, fish, and vegetables. In our region, jollof varies from country to country, and there's a competition between countries in the area about who has the best rice. This is a very friendly competition, and our neighboring countries are good neighbors. We help each other. Right now, there are troops from countries around us in the Gambia to keep order. I've heard of the soldiers harming people, which is not what they should be doing, which is keeping peace. I feel like a lot of the problems in the Gambia are like that. There's a problem, a law is passed to stop the problem, but nothing good happens. A major problem we have is lack of development, which has caused decline and a lack of opportunities for everyone. The government has told us that improvements will be made, like better roads, a better port, and better schools. While laws are passed, the change never happens because of corruption. This corruption is evident in every rural area of the Gambia, where many schools only teach the Quran and water is hard to get. Only 65% of the country has access to clean water. However, poor development is not just in rural areas of the country, and schools and hospitals around here are in dire need of proper funding. To stop these problems, the government needs to focus on development, especially in rural areas. I feel passionate about solving these problems, so I traveled with my dad to Banjul and did research on our government. I discovered that there are no term limits for president, with the legislature only having one chamber, which gives less of a voice to poor people in the Gambia. I think we should have a bicameral legislature and a limited term for the president. There's more checks and balances and no brutal rulers in power for so long like Yahya Jammeh. I hope that in the future my country prospers so kids like myself will have a solid education, and the tree that is the Gambia will grow large and strong.